Good evening, everyone, and a very warm welcome to you all. I hope you all are doing great and having a good health. Something feels very different about today's evening. The atmosphere itself is motivational and it's an event filled with the vibes of leadership and prosperity. I'm Sanjida Sara Jennifer, your host for this evening. Today, I'm hosting an event devoted to encouraging today's women to work in the engineering sector is an absolute pleasure. IEEE East West University Student Branch has been arranging inspiring events so that the students can get the vibe of the real world and show their skills to the people who admires it. To promote our members' leadership skill, IEEE East West University Student Branch brings you with a very special webinar today, focusing on women empowerment and enlightenment for those who have the thirst for achieving a new height. Our today's webinar is on women contributing to the engineering based profession and research, and this seminar has two separate sessions. Session 1 with much respected Dr. Maheshi ma'am, the chair of IEEE Sri Lanka section and a very strong professional lady leading the whole IEEE Sri Lanka section. Dr. Maheshi will be continuing the first part of our session, which is why are girls still not attracted to a career in engineering? Session 2 will be conducted by a very talented female leader, Samantha Lubaba Noor, former chair of IEEE Women in Engineering Affinity Group 2016-17 and a graduate research assistant at the very famous and prestigious Georgia Institute of Technology, with holding the Cadence Women in Technology Scholarship. Ma'am will continue the second part of our session, which is Plasmonics, a new hope for the ultra-fast computing. We are also very proud to have our counselor Nusrat Jahan Ononna ma'am with us today. Your presence graces us all. Due to some unavoidable circumstances, our advisor Dr. Mahin Islam ma'am couldn't be here with us today. Now I'm requesting our counselor Ononna ma'am to say some inspiring words for all of us here today.
All right. Hello, everyone, and welcome to this event organized by our East West University's IEEE student branch. So, we're actually very proud to have these two uh, talented and amazing women with us today, sharing their views and their stories with us. So, as we all know, that the number of women in engineering is still very low. It's getting better day by day, definitely, but still very low. Why is that? Why are girls not interested in a career? Also the chairperson of IEEE Sri Lanka branch. So she will be talking about all those things. We are very glad to have this opportunity to hear her talk, to hear her stories, her views about these things. And then we have our very own Samantha Lubaba Noor ma'am. Most of you, I guess, you know him, I know her. She was a faculty in our university before, and right now she is working in Georgia Tech, like our anchor said. So we are welcoming her also, and hopefully we'll be having a great time with these two beautiful and amazingly talented women. We'll be hearing their stories and we'll be getting inspired. So let's not waste any more time and get on with the program. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Now let us proceed to begin the first session of our evening, and it is my privilege to invite Dr. Maheshi ma'am to start her session on why are girls still not attracted to a career in engineering.
Hello everyone. Thank you very much for giving me this opportunity, especially inviting me to deliver the speech on why women are not interested in a career in engineering. So I'll try to share my thoughts, especially my experience, especially as working as a lecturer attached to the University of Peradeniya. So I'll talk about that and my experience with working with girls in WIE, as well as reaching the IEEE Sri Lanka section and I'll grab some experience from working with the regional, like I was in the regional IEEE WI committee as well. So I'll grab some experience from those activities as well. So let's start. Hope you can see my screen. Can someone please let me know that I am
Yes,
visible?
ma'am.
All right. Okay. So all right. Now the topic that I'm going to talk about is why are girls still not attracted to a career in engineering. So I'm the chair of IEEE Sri Lanka section for this particular year, 2021. I have been the past chair of WI Sri Lanka section for longer time. I think actually I am the founding chair as well. And on top of that, I'm a lecturer in electrical and electronic engineering. So the first question is, what is engineering? Every one of us know what is engineering, but let's look into it just in case. So engineering is the application of science and maths to solve problems. So engineers figure out how things work and they try to find practical solutions. So what happens is scientists and inventors, they generally come up with these innovations and advancement which will help the humans, but it's the engineer who always make it practically possible, or it's the one who makes it available to the world. So this is the role of engineer. So what type of activities an engineer do? The engineer will design, evaluate, develop, maybe test, modify, install, inspect. Will carry on like doing wide variety of products and system related activities. And also they will perform some activities like supervising manufacturing industries, constructions, conduct failure analysis, provide consultant service, and then teach, something like us. Now, the definition of engineer and the roles of engineers play, they never define whether it's female or male. There's no such a thing as female engineer or a male engineer. If you look into the picture or the what the society believes in engineering. So this is a simple image I got when I Googled what is engineering. It's a very nice picture. It shows that engineer is not just somebody who builds things. He will do mathematical calculations. He will come up with the designs. You can see someone in the designs here, someone doing maths, someone even going into construction, and then a girl with so this kind of a way indicate engineering is not much popular among girls. So why so few women in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics? So girls' performance and participation in maths and science subjects in high school, this has improved over the time. Even statistics says the girls' participation in maths and science have gone beyond the participation of males. So I only was able to find data till 2009, but the data says male and female, they are in like a very same scale. They are fighting with each other in the same level. It's a fair race here. If you go a little bit deep into the subjects, like what about high school girls? Are they more likely to take biology, chemistry, and pre-calculus than boys? Or are they willing to take physics? The statistics says they're not much into physics. So here the physics subjects, they're not much interested, the girls. And other subjects, like especially biology, girls are okay with it. And even general science, they have shown interest. Now higher courses in mathematics, algebra, geometry, trigonometry, pre-calculus, what about them? Again, Girls show some interest, but male are dominant in certain subjects. But then again, girls are okay, not that poor, they're all right. Grade wise, girls tend to perform well in like they have higher GPAs or in maths and science courses. Now this is the statistic, but when it comes to moving from high school to graduate level schools like colleges where the bachelor's degrees are offered, now there's an alarming picture here. Because earlier what we saw was girls interested in maths areas, but when you look into some subjects like engineering, male participation is 20%, female participation is 4%. So what happened? Where are the girls who showed interest? What happened to them? Not only in high school or not only on a college, even in workforce it's the same. If you look into the distribution of female participation in the workforce, biological sciences, chemistry, and some computer science, IT related fields, they are dominant by girls. Or they still have attraction. Like biology, okay, 44%, a good participation is there. But if you look into engineering, physics, astrophysics, very less participation. So what happened? I mean, they clearly showed some interest at a high school level. College level, it declined, and employer level, it's again declined. Why? A deeper look even shows that, okay, biology related areas, females are interested, but if it is electrical and electronic engineering, they are not much interested. So the very first thing I'm going to look at is engineering this bad? No, it is a beautiful career. You can provide excitement, creativity, and fun. Think about when you come up with a design, when you're going to design a circuit, maybe you're trying to solve a problem so that it will serve the society. You're so interested about that. So it's an exciting field. You can bring theory into practice. And it's a creativity is there. You can create some new thoughts, fun activities. Is the competitive dead? No, it's a competitive career. Technology is developing. Every day, the career of engineering will always take some new steps. So it's a nicely developing career. Salary wise, it's very attractive. You can earn a significant amount if you are working on as an engineer, practicing as an engineer. Travel opportunities. Generally, in the modern world, engineers do not work alone. They work with multinational companies. They work with international organizations, maybe international consultancy service. So this is a field which gives an opportunity to travel abroad, out of your own city. So it gives you a chance to evolve as a person. And something we forget is the flexibility. It's not a job where you have to work like 9 to 5, sit on a desk and do this and that. You have a flexibility. Maybe someday you have to work late, some days you might not have that much of a burden. So it's a beautiful career. It brings excitement, creativity, fun. Developing career is not a static career. Salary is good. You give opportunity to travel. Now, what more can a girl ask? All those girls there, they like to have excitement. They like to have fun. They don't like to stay on a static kind of a field. Salary is good. You can buy your own nice clothes, go on a nice shopping trip, and the opportunity to travel. Everybody likes to go abroad and have some fun, look at the new things. So, with all those great opportunities given by the engineering, still girls are not interested. So, let's see why. This is a statistic showing the job occupation among the gender division. High school, significant participation is there. College, little less. Then, especially when it comes to the bosses, heads of labs, very less. This is 18% participation. Labor force, statistics shows biological sciences, male and female, they work like hand in hand, 50%. But when it comes to maths related areas, males dominate. Even faculty position is the same. only 11% of the professors will be females compared to the 82% of male participation. Now, what the data shows is, data brings in us, since we are engineers, we like to see data, we like to work with facts. We always work and think with the facts. So what this shows is the interest in high school level is dropped when it comes to the college degree. And they don't want to continue further education. And there's less number of females at higher positions like as a boss, a manager. So why? I'll bring in my thoughts as well as some of the thoughts expressed by the experts in this area. So the very first thing people discovered is everything depends on your perception. It's not engineering. If you are interested, if the society creates an interest in you, you will chase after that dream. So we call it perception on jobs in engineering. This is a one key factor. Then the lack of support from family and society. There's another one, stereotype views. It says STEM sector is better suited for men. So the moment a female will hear this or even consider someone who's considering a job in engineering, they will hesitate because it's better suited for men. Another thing is lack of role model and lack of understanding about the entitlements of the job, the goods of the job. And the perception. So if you have any questions, you can drop. So the perception. What is perception? Girls' achievements and interest in maths and science are always shaped by the environment. Not necessarily in engineering. Anything you do, if the environment is going to support you, you're going to excel in it. If someone says around you that, yes, you can do it, then girls tend to work more towards this area. They tend to dedicate themselves so they can achieve a good task. What's the other factors? Believing in potential for intellectual growth. This improves the outcome. If you do not believe in yourself, there's no point in doing anything because you will not grow. Forget about engineering. Any activity you pick up, if you're not going to believe that there's a potential to improve or potential to grow, you're not interested in the topic. You will not achieve your goal. So these are two factors. The other one is negative stereotype. Girls do work well. The statistics shows girls has performed well in areas of mathematics, but still they don't believe in themselves because of the surrounding, the negative stereotypes saying that girls' ability in maths and science, they're not good. So they don't want to follow this field. Now, the impact of negative stereotypes, how it impacts. That's an interesting study. What happens in this study is you bring two groups of students and you divide into two groups and say to one group, there is a stereotype threat. In other words, they says, if you are a female, you cannot work this problem well. For the second group, you don't say anything. You say, just go ahead, you can do well. Interestingly, although they were of the same capacity or same caliber at the starting point, when they were given this stereotype threat, they perform less compared to the situation where there's no stereotype threat. So as females or women in engineering people, how can we address this? First thing is we need to expose our friends, maybe our sisters, the younger sisters, younger cousins, to female role models. There are females who have excelled in maths, who have excelled in engineering. Find people like that. Something like what this event is doing. You're bringing in your former branch counselor and inviting her to talk. So this will encourage your current female girls in the batch to do more, Another activity we can do to take away this negativity or this negative stereotype related issues is teach. Let your younger generation, even yourself, know that there is a threat. This is there. When you go into engineering, you will hear this. You will hear girls perform bad compared to your your colleagues who are male. So be ready for that. But in your mind, set it up. Since you have seen good female role models, you know that this wording is going to be there, saying you are not good, but you raise it and you make your mindset so that you are ready to face the challenge. Another thing is the perception of the society. So society expect when you say engineering, they even use the word nerd. If you're good in maths, you're a nerd. It doesn't matter whether you look gorgeous or you behave in a very high flying kind of a way. Still, when you are good in maths, they will say you are a nerd. So some girls think this is not a good label. But in reality, that's not that. The reality working environment of an engineer can be really interesting. So this is simply a Google workplace. We know, I mean, I personally know a couple of my friends who are girls working on with Google and Facebook. So this is a very nice workplace to work with. You can just play there, enjoy yourself, relax while working. So you can't ask for more. And there are some, if you look into like, if you're very good, I mean, if you're interested, you can find like Hollywood kind of a actresses who has a mathematical background. They have maybe degree in maths, PhD in maths, but they perform well in their careers as well. And they are models, but with higher education qualification or part-time engineer. So the perception, what we have thought is correct, is wrong. The society is looking at this in a wrong way. So we need to communicate this to our younger generation and others who are willing to come up into this career as an engineer. So why this perception is not changed? Because we don't have role models. Our role models are not there openly. People don't talk about a lot. Maybe it's a trait in actually girls. Some of them don't like to boast around, go and say, okay, I'm an engineer, I'm an engineer. They will just hide behind. But if you think about the other roles, like especially the caregiving roles, like nursing and literature, where you write and things, so this expressive areas, they have already have role models. From a very young age, we were told about the Nightingale. So we know that role model, but we were never mentioned, even like nobody discussed with us about engineering role models. But the interesting there are. So I'm just listing a couple of them. To us who are practicing engineers, those who are studying engineers, if you want to encourage more younger generation, girls from younger generation to join us, this is what we should do. We should let them know there are role models, and yes, you can follow this as a career. And not just follow, you can achieve heights, great heights in this career. Now, a very general concept I'm going to introduce. This is about fixed mindset and growing mindset. Now, if you are to excel, if you are to improve yourself, if you are to achieve a task, a target level, you have to have something called growth mindset. So what is this? The fixed mindset tells intelligence is static. So the moment you know intelligence is static, you're born with it, and then you cannot do anything beyond that. So if you give it a value, let's say you give it a value of 50, that's it. Now what happens is, you know that you have a static value, now you try to look smart. How do you try to look smart? You avoid challenge. Because if you go into a challenge and if you fail, you're going to prove them that you're not smart enough. Then you give up easily. Whenever you see an obstacle, you don't want to cross over. You just give it up gradually. Easily. Then you don't want to put effort because you think Putting effort is fruitless. I'm not going to achieve this task. I have a static intelligence. You don't want feedback. Worst part is when a colleague of yours succeed, you think that's as a threat. Now, this is a mindset you should avoid. The fixed mindset, it's not good for any activity you are going to do. Instead, try to develop a growth mindset. Growth mindset is intelligent can be developed. You believe in yourself that you can learn. So if you are open to learn, if you have a desire to learn, you embrace the challenges. Even you go after challenges. Then you keep on persisting. The persistence is there. Keep on working on something even if you fail. Try again and again and again until you succeed. The third point is you see effort as path to mastery. You work hard. You want to achieve the goal. You dedicate yourself. You ask from others what type of the directions I should take. So you welcome criticism. You welcome feedback. So now you are growing. Your activities are growing as well as your intelligence is growing with these activities you are doing. You are learning. Now, when you are learning, the best thing is you will be inspired by others. Whenever someone around you succeed, you are not going to go back. You are not going to feel threatened. You are thinking, if she did it, if he did it, I can too. I can try it too. So this is a very good mindset to be in whatever you do, not engineering, whatever you do, try to develop this growth mindset. How can we create it in others, especially teach children? Intellectual skills can be acquired. Maybe you have again your younger cousins, younger sisters, or even older sisters, older brothers. Even maybe some of you might have children. Okay, you're students. So maybe some of you might have your brother's children or your aunties. Then teach them, teach that other younger generation that you can learn. That's a very important factor you have to teach, and that's a gift. Let them know you can improve your intelligence. Then praise children for their effort. Whatever small task they do, whenever they succeeded in it, praise it. Next point is highlight the struggle. Let others know it's not an easy task. I am the chair of Sri Lanka section today, but it's not an easy task. I have done so much work to reach them. When I did my PhD, it was not an easy task. I had to sacrifice a lot of my time and spend so much time working on the given research, day and night. Maybe like there were sleepless nights because it's not an easy task, it's a struggle. But I managed to improve my intelligence. That is why I graduated with a doctorate in electrical and electronic engineering. So teach them to the younger generations. It doesn't have to be big activities. You can have small activities at school levels. Conduct a school level program, maybe kindergarten level. When they build some small thing using, let's say, plastic cups or maybe clay, just appreciate it. And when they break it, let them know it is all right. You break things and then you pick it up. And finally, when you are organizing some activities to help the gifted and talented students, let them know that it's not fixed. You can grow. Even if someone thinks they are less talented, less gifted, they can improve to become this talented person. Now, in my life, I am an introvert. Introvert means someone who's shy. But I developed myself to overcome this challenge. I don't label myself as an introvert anymore, but when I started, especially even in my undergraduates, I was a shy girl, not a very moving forward girl. So somehow I got the message from the society that you can improve. So I improved myself. Same goes with you. If you think You're not intelligent. You're not gifted. You're not talented. Don't just have a fixed mindset. Instead, have a growth mindset and try to develop. Another research was conducted thinking about how these girls hold themselves. What about the standards, especially in engineering fields? So masculine fields mean engineering fields where male are dominant. Now here's the interesting fact. Whenever you are working, you always try to achieve a certain level. So it's a standard. You will be given a boundary line, a target level saying this is what you have to achieve. And when you are working towards that, if you think whatever you do, you are not recognized, even if you pass that boundary. Let's say to get an A, you need to get 75 marks. You have a 75 marks, but if you are not recognized for as an A student, sometimes you will think, no, getting 75 is not enough. Now I have to work for 85. Because I'm a girl, some will think in engineering, I'm doing a project, I'm working the same way as my colleagues, a male colleague, but for me to get that A, I need to show more, which means I'm pressurizing myself to work more than the average. And this work negatively when you're applying for things like promotions. Now you have met the cutoff, but you're not going to apply because you feel when you apply, the whole evaluation board who are of males, they will just count me down. They will deduct my achievements and think, no, no, she's not qualified because it's she, not he. And they did a test to see whether this is true. It is true. When you have this masculine, this message, girls try to perform much harder than required. And in when you don't have that, it's okay. They are working the same level. So what this should let you know is, first thing is you have to understand this standard before you move forward, especially when you're trying to apply for a promotion. First understand the standard and believe in yourself. Believe in your skills. Develop the right skill and believe in your capacity and then go forward. Another point. We talk about this like the qualities girls have and they think they are less of it. But here is a point which is working other way around. What I meant is, if you think about the spatial skills, then it shows that there's a gender gap. Females or the girls perform less in spatial skills compared to boys. So girls are performing less in terms of spatial skills. So what is spatial skill? Spatial skill is how to see the orientation of some design. So if that is a block, if you turn it at a certain angle, it will look like that. And if you turn this one, what will it look like? A, B, C, D, O, E. Can I see some answers? Can I see some answers? Just which one you think is best? A, B, C, D. Okay. Hope you're still with me. All right, I'm seeing some answers. Yes, it's D. Now, it says a female will struggle to answer this. Now, there's a reason behind that. Who plays a lot with Legos and puzzles? Mostly boys play a lot. Now, I have a son and I know this. He plays a lot with building things like, Legos, even like cars he will take apart, and we will willingly give him a spanner and say, okay, a screwdriver and say, okay, you can take it apart, doesn't matter. But if it is a girl, we will bring her up in a different way. We will give her a doll or a bear and say, like, teach her the role of caregiver because that's the society expectation and that's the role a female is born to do. So we will teach her how to take care of a baby, feed her, dress her, wash her, all those things. But if it's a boy, we look at it in a different way. We'll teach them the design thinking. Now, gradually, those who play with Lego and construction toys, they will learn the fundamentals of these spatial skills. They will learn how to build a house properly without collapsing, a big tower without collapsing. Now, this is why girls lack in spatial skills because they are not exposed to the spatial skill training at a young age. Now, next time when these uncles and aunties buy presents for their cousin daughters or young children in their family, make sure if it is a girl, try to buy her something in Lego or a jigsaw puzzle even. You can make it feminine, you can make it a pink one. You can make, instead of having to build like a masculine design, you can make it like lovely design of, let's say, designing a saloon. You can have that variation, but try to give that opportunity. Let them develop that spatial skill. This will come handy, not in engineering, in life. So this is a request for the uncles and aunties who are joining today. Now about this, the highest status. Why there's less females in higher positions, hierarchically high positions. Now, if you are either a girl or a boy who want to reach managerial level or a boss, first thing is you have to commit. There's no other shortcut. You will have family, you will have the other me times, the times that you enjoy with your friends and doing your hobbies, doing your job. But if you are to succeed and achieve a higher designation, a promotion, become a boss, you have to commit for that activity. If it is a job, you have to stay a little late, maybe not work harder, you can work smarter, but you have to put extra work. So for a female, this is very difficult. If you think about the age-wise, around 30, you try to form a family. This is the norm in Sri Lanka. Little less 30, like 28, you try to form a family. So if you think about a married girl who's in 30s and 35s, they have young children and they have their aging parents and they have to take care of it. There's no way that you can run out of it. Now with that, the other problem comes, can we commit to the work so I can go for a higher promotion? This is a problem. This is why there's less females at higher designations, higher designated status. Then the other thing is less support for and career development opportunities. You have to go on like training programs. You have to learn the work that you are going to do. You are trained as an engineer, but if you are going to succeed as a manager, you need to learn about certain managerial skills. You can study them, but where is the time? If you don't have that support to dedicate to this career development, especially if the program is, let's say, outside the country. If you have a kid, you can't leave him alone at home. So you have some problems. So definitely you're going to face these problems. Then less expectation. Now you are going to have less support from the society, family, and you are going to have more commitment to the family. On top of that, the society doesn't expect a female to go into higher positions. And the society doesn't demand. So less demand and less expectation means you are happy with what you are starting or where you are at that moment. So if you want to reach this higher status, first thing is there should be some expectation, at least in yourself. Generate that expectation, generate that demand, self-demand, create that pressure in you, thinking, no, I'm going to balance the family. It's a hard thing to do, balancing family and work, but I will achieve that deadline. I will work little late. I will compromise something, maybe my time, the time I spend with friends, and then I'll go work for that position, that promotion. So create that self value and set your goals. This is the only way, either you are a female or a male person, to go to that those higher questions. So you need to have expectation and demand, at least develop it from yourself. If you do not have the support coming from your industry or from your the society, try to change it. There are some industries which supports you. Try to find an industry which supports your development. And the commitments, family commitment, you have to be very creative. Know that this is challenges there and come up with a creative solution. If we have time, we'll discuss some solutions a little later. Now the last thing, so we discussed about why there's few females in the question. Now I'm going to discuss why there are why we females lead. So since because of I have like another 10 minutes, I'll quickly go through these sections. Now here's the first fact. 40% of this research sample, it says the girls who graduate with an engineering degree, they don't enter the profession. So they are not working as engineers. This is very alarming. Why? Because you invest on yourself. This is something you invested on. You spend, let's say, 23, 24 years studying engineering. And soon after you get the degree, you are going to give up the engineering degree. So you are wasting your 25 years of your life. You are just putting it to a pin and says, forget about it. And those who invest on your studies, maybe your parents, maybe your school, if it is a scholarship, maybe your country, and they are at a loss because you did not started working as an engineer. So what are they doing? They are doing some other work. There's very few who are doing family care, retirement, or other things. Most of these who trained as an engineer, 80%, they are doing some other work. So why? Why this is happening? It says 4 in 1 women leave engineering. Keep in mind, men also leave engineering. 10 in 1, they leave engineering. So why this is happening? Is it the ability? No. The statistics shows girls and boys, they have the same level of ability in maths and science. And if they have studied the same degree, the ability is the same. So why this happen and how to stop this? The only way to stop this is let the younger generation, let the students who are following engineering know that this can happen. You can leave the profession if a situation arises. You have to consult someone before you just give the resignation letter. So why they leave? There's no statistics to find out why they leave. But we have some statistics to say when they leave. Now this is very important for either male or boy. Because first either female or a male students. So if you are going into any job, the first 5 years is crucial. Now I would say find a good boss as your first boss. It will make your career or break your career. Now I was fortunate to work with a very good boss who encouraged me to even go into IEEE. He's the one who put my name there. And he's the one who asked me to work smarter like this. He showed me the exact path and said, work like this, Maheshi, then you will achieve your promotions, you will achieve financial stability, and you can work to research. So he showed me a lot of possible options, how to work with life, because he knew I was a girl. So he said, okay, you need to think about your family, but also manage time, work like that. So make a good decision when you're finding your first boss. It's not the salary, it's not the entitlements that the job offers, it's the person. Now, the same results were there when we asked from people who left less than 5 years. They said sometimes there's nobody to talk about. Especially girls like to chit chat. So if you don't have anyone to go and talk about what happens in, let's say, yesterday's Oscar winning or film fair, some festival, the latest movie which is out, if you don't have anybody to discuss, you feel like you're alone. And you're alone, not just alone, it's a demanding lifestyle, and you're going to work long hours. So it's not meeting your expectation of that beauty. It's not there. You feel like every day when you wake up, you have to struggle to get out of the bed to go to work. So then you leave because you are not feeling satisfied. Then the other point is, some will think that the industry, the workplace is not going to give you enough role models. Maybe it gives you lack of job satisfaction, lack of flexibility, and you have a discrimination. And then you think, I mean, it shows that the industry itself shows that you cannot achieve the targets same as a boy will, or you cannot achieve your promotion same as a guy will. So you will leave. So indirectly, if you are working in a bad workplace, if you are working in a workplace which do not support you, definitely you are going to leave within 5 years. Those who left after 5 years is because they worked hard and now their work is not recognized. And sometimes there's no way that you can work. You have to be either one of the guys, work the same way as the guy, think the same way as the guy. And if you don't have a role model, if you don't have a senior to look up to, you have to create the path yourself. If you are the first person to be recruited, let's say for the post of engineer in that company, for you to become the senior engineer, it has to be you. You have to show them, no, girls can do this. Yes, I can do this. And then they have to trust in yourself. So this is another reason why females leave after 5 years. So here's the interesting fact we can draw from the things I have shown. There were so many comments as well. Why do they leave? Do they leave because of lack of confidence in the subject area, lack of interest, or is it because they want to take care of their family? The alarming answer is no. They never left because of lack of confidence, lack of interest, or because they have a demanding family care responsibilities. They left because the work environment is unsupportive. In other words, they work for the wrong organization. Their boss is the wrong person to work with. Their supervisors and co-workers, even the friends, they are not supportive. That is why they left. It doesn't matter whether you are a female or male. If you leave your first job very early, rather than going for a promotion, if you leave, the reasons are this. If you feel fed up in your job, if you feel burned out in your job, this is the reason. You're working for the wrong company. You're working with the wrong supervisor. And the organization level barriers. Even if you put time, even if they demand you to put time, they know that you have a, let's say, baby, few months old baby at home, still they are saying, no, come and work. You have to work 8 to 5. Then you're going to leave because the organization is not adapted to your requirements. So these are the reasons why female leave engineering, not lack of confidence or lack of ability, or not because you have to take care of the family. Then why do they stay? They stayed if the job is very interesting, if the work they are doing is recognized, if they are supported, if their co-workers treat them as another person in a family, because it's no longer you are working. When you go to a work, it's another family you are going to adapt into. You should treat them as a family. They should treat you as a family. When you are hurt, they should support you. When you're happy, they should again support you. So if that support is there, you're going to stay in this industry. In other words, if the organization get it, get who you are, and help you to develop your career, support you to manage the work-life balances, maybe culturally they have to support. If you come from a different cultural background, and if the company does not value your culture, you are going to leave. You might have different beliefs. So think about them when you first apply for your job. Find the correct first job. Now, because of the time, I'll skip this particular topic. Okay, I'll summarize why we have to work. why we have to invest on this issue, why we have to encourage female to take up engineering, and then why we have to encourage them to stay in engineering. Because this is an investment for the country. If you think about the workforce, that is 5% of the world labor force is females. If you think about the jobs like engineering and ICT sector, it's developing. It's showing huge growth. Job market is showing huge growth, means a lot of jobs are coming up. So how can you fill them? Utilize that 5%. So this is going to strengthen the country's workforce. So finally, how can we do this? How to improve the women participation? First thing is change the attitude in your society. Those who you can talk to them and change their beliefs. Don't force, don't go and rebel, don't create a revolution. But try to do simple things so that they will believe in yourself. They will believe that a girl can do it. Best way is show that you can work. So at the end, they will believe, okay, this job can be done by engineer. You don't need a male. And then when you become a stabilized person in the society, when you grow older, keep this in mind that girls can do. Your colleague who worked with you at the undergraduate level, maybe graduate level, they have the potential to work the same way as the male and the female. And don't judge them. So this will change the attitude of the society. Maybe not now, at least in a couple of years. Then create the enthusiasm. If someone is not enthusiastic about any activity, he's not going to pick it up. So create this enthusiasm among girls that this is a beautiful field. You have a lot of advantages working on these fields. The salary, the excitement, the creativity, the traveling. These are good points you can discuss with your cousins, sisters, younger sisters, and encourage them to take up engineering. And finally, if someone comes and say, oh, if you feel someone is with the static mindset, empower them. Let them know that you can do it so that they will grow. They will change into a growing mindset, and whatever they do, they will grow. So this is where I'm going to stop. I'll say, target that higher position, aim for it, take up the challenge, try to balance the life. It's harder than saying, but don't take no for the answer. There's a saying, if you do not ask, the answer is always no. So don't take no for an answer. See where the opportunities are. Go and say, yes, I will do it. At least say, I will give it a try. And then move forward. Every challenge, take it as opportunity and change yourself, develop yourself. Then you will not feel like you are working as an engineer. You'll feel satisfied with the job. So you will remain working as an engineer. So I'll open the floor for questions here.
Ma'am, we have a question from Farjana Sharmin Shorna. She's asking, over the past couple of years, since I started to look for job circulars, I have noticed that in Bangladesh, a lot of companies, mostly in the power sector, specially require male candidates to apply for the job. How do you think it affects?
Okay, I'm not familiar with the Bangladesh environment, but here's the thing. When you say power, again, the society believes it's for male. But find out why it says it's for male and show your capacity. How to show your capacity? Don't just go there and show your degree certificate and say, okay, this is my degree certificate. I am willing to work as in this profession as a power. But show them that you have worked in projects, you have worked late night with your friends, you have achieved the targets. So then they will see you as somebody who has the same capacity as another person. Let it be another male colleague. So what I'm saying is, don't restrict yourself to the CV. Don't restrict yourself to the degree qualifications you have. Use opportunities to build yourself so that you can present yourself as a possible candidate. I have seen like many occasions, even my friends who has, I had a friend who has a name same as the male. persons. It's just the way you pronounce it. So whenever she applied, people call her in for the job interviews, and then they will say, "Oh, you are a female." But still, she got a very good job, which is more dominant by females. Because she was called in for the interview, and she grabbed that opportunity. So grab the opportunities. Only ways you have to show that you can do it. Does it answer the question, Swarna?
Yes, ma'am. Another question we have is from Sumaya Hoff. She's saying most of the boys have a mentality that a working woman is not capable to maintain both family and work. Why do they think like that? Why does it always stay one sided?
It's an interesting question, actually. Now, here's the thing: if you want to work away from that, when you're selecting your partner, think twice. Think someone who, I mean, find someone who will support you. And the other ways you can encourage, you can show them. First, if someone is thinking, okay, you cannot balance the both, just show them. No, there are people in the world who has done both. And maybe take somebody from your immediate, someone in your society, maybe someone from your faculty, and they say, see, this person has done it, so you can do it. So show them that there are people who have done it. And the other thing is, especially as a girl, when you if you're given the opportunity to find the partner, find someone who will support you and someone who will believe you. Then you can go a very long way. Okay.
Absolutely, ma'am. Another question is from Farzana Akhtar Irene. She's saying, being an introvert, it gets really difficult at times to reach out and do things. How did you manage to overcome that, ma'am? And what do you suggest introverts like us to do?
Okay. So as I said, I'm a born introvert. Until I think even in my uni days, I was an introvert. I was a little bit led behind, but I was very fortunate to see. I was very fortunate to have mentors, especially at my school level, and then at different levels like in WIE. There were people who believed in me, and they are the ones who first put me out there, saying, "You have to do this." So it was the pressure which came from the society which made me come out of my shell. But one thing you can do is, I know it's difficult. Even talking in a public, it will give you like heart attacks. So this is what you can do: practice. If you have to work and do, and let's say go out and do some presentation, practice and come out of that. Force yourself to come out. Get on with the WIE, because WIE is a female oriented society. So you will feel a little bit like your home. You are more linked to them. So work with them, and then always think one step at a time. I'm trying to come out of this work. I'm trying to develop myself. The moment you set that standard, no, I'm going to do this because I believe that I can do it. Only thing is, I need to come out. Then you can do it. That's what I did. I was given the opportunity from the society who I lived. My first boss was a very good boss. So he said, no, you have to do it. I had no other options. So I first went to the IEEE meeting. I can say I was kind of shaking. I was not very, I don't think I talked on the first meeting. But then I expressed that, no, I have the talents. I can do these things. And then gradually I came out of it. So the task demand me to come out of. That's the solution. Find tasks which will demand you to come out of your shell. Okay.
Thank you, ma'am. It was really helpful. And now, if our chair wants to say something to Maheshi, ma'am, please go on ahead.
Uh, Hey everyone, thank you, Sarah. Yes, ma'am. Ma'am's whole session was truly inspirational. I have already become a fan. Yes, as she was saying that she was born introvert, but I want to add that you may born introvert, but you don't have to die introvert. So, Women in Engineering is a society or is an affinity group for women to flourish their own skill to express what they think. So try finding scopes that fits you, that fits your environment, that fits your mentality. So the whole session was truly amazing. I have heard the whole session, and I have noted a few things that is going to help me a lot. So thank you, Maheshi ma'am, for joining today, and please keep blessing our girls and our student branch to move ahead and to do something out of the box. Thank you.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. So thank you for having me. If you need any help, especially in like WA activities or even in IEEE activities, you can contact me. And as you said, yeah, maybe you are born with, you are born introvert or you are born with a certain level of intelligence. You don't have to die like that. You can develop yourself. So maybe today onwards, think you're going to develop yourself so that you can achieve a greater height. So with that,
Uh,
thank you again.
there is certainly another question.
Oh,
This will be our last question. So,
okay.
this is Tabassum Islam, and she's an undergraduate teaching assistant also. She's asking, ma'am, sometimes parents are not willing to send their daughters for higher studies in abroad alone. How to overcome this thought? Okay.
Again, I think you have to show them that your capacity. Because I went for higher studies on my own, and I was a girl who hasn't even okay. We live in Kandy, and our capital is Colombo, so I haven't even gone to Colombo alone. Yet they put me on a plane to Heathrow all alone because later on day when I asked from my dad, he said, "No, I had a trust that you will manage." So, for so many problems that we face as girls, first thing is you need to trust yourself, develop the skills, and show them that no, you can do it. That will change so many mindsets around you. So once they trust you and once they believe in yourself, they will, I mean, give you this opportunity, especially to go and finish your higher studies. So it's the task is in our hand. We need to show them that we are able to do it. Okay.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It was really nice having you with us today. So, this is the end of our session one, and we are going to now have a 10 minutes break. Please, everyone, go back to the lounge and have a seat on the chair. We will be back after 10 minutes. Thank you. Hello, everyone, and welcome back after the short break. I hope you all are liking the session as well as the platform. Now it's almost time to begin the second session of our today's evening. At first, I would like to invite Anuna ma'am once again to hear a few words from her.
All right. So hopefully everyone enjoyed the first session. I certainly did. I was actually looking forward to this event because an international speaker was here, and also another person who is our very own Samantha Lubaba ma'am. We're going to hear from her in the second session. I guess most of you already know her. She was a lecturer, a past lecturer actually in our university, former senior lecturer, I would say. And she was also the branch counselor of IEEE East West University student branch. And she's also affiliated with the IEEE Women in Engineering Bangladesh section. She used to be the former chair also. And right now she is the graduate research assistant at Georgia Tech. We already heard that at the first session, but I thought I'd just say it again because seriously, such amazing achievements from these amazing ladies. So we should all just be inspired just by listening to these achievements, right? That females in this engineering background are doing so many things. You can just look at your alumni or maybe our faculty members. All of them are going abroad and getting degrees, doing higher studies. They have set these big positions. They're doing engineering jobs in field works. I have my friends who are working in maybe power plants and other engineering fields. They're doing field work. They're working overnight beside male. In a male-dominant field, I would say, in a male-dominant sector, they're performing brilliantly. And also in the academia, like in the academia, I'm a lecturer, so but I would say I'm just in the beginning phase. But we have our other faculty members. We have Halima ma'am in our university. You all know her, and in also other universities, you can see the percentage of female faculty is increasing day by day because the percentage of female students are increasing. So, which means that the female section, the female population, they're getting more and more opportunities to excel in academia.
I think our counselor Nusrajahan Ona ma'am is having issues with her network. Let us start our session. If she comes, she will talk later. So let us introduce Samantha Lubaba Noor ma'am.
So for the second session, I'm now inviting our lovely Samantha Lubaba Noor ma'am to start her session on Plasmonics, a new hope for the ultra-fast computing.
Thank you, Sanjida, for introducing me. So, hi everyone. I'm feeling very excited to meet all of you guys. Although I can see your face, but I can see there are a couple of people here. And I really hope that my students are also here. So, as you all already heard that I was in the triple department of East West University in 2017. And before that, I worked at Brack University for 4 years in the same department. I completed my graduation in 2012 from Bangladesh University of Engineering Technology and also my master's in 2016. And after 5 years of my career in academia, I came to Georgia Tech for my PhD in ECE. So basically, I just started my third year in Georgia Tech. So I have already started my PhD research and completed my course here. So basically, I will talk about what I am working on, and that is not my only talk today. I will also, from my perspective and what I have seen in my career or in my educational life, I will try to encourage our girls and also the boys in pursuing their career in engineering research. And I will try to give you some tips so that it will help you in the long run. I hope that you will enjoy the talk. So let's start. So can someone ensure whether you are seeing my screen?
Yes, ma'am, we can see your screen.
Thank you. Okay. Imagine that you have an assignment to submit and it's about some coding, maybe in MATLAB or in other platform. And this is your computer, a huge one. What you are thinking? Maybe you will be terrified, maybe you will be exhausted by seeing the large size of this computer, how you are going to handle this. But basically, this is a part of our first computer. Its name is ENIAC. And I say that it's a part because this is the main scenario of the computer. It's a gigantic one. It took around 1800 square feet and weighing 50 ton. It was first designed in University of Pennsylvania by some researchers, and this is the first large-scale general-purpose electronic digital computer. So the question is how this large computer has turned into this one, and with time into this one, or even smaller. So basically, there is a story behind this, and this story is about this person. He is Gordon Moore, one of the co-founder of Intel. He hypothesized in 1975 that the number of transistor, and the transistor is the building blocks of our integrated circuit. So he hypothesized that the number of transistor in a dense integrated circuit will double in every 2 years. And after 1975, the trend just follows like that. If you see in this picture, the number of transistor, it increased, and it increased double or more than double as new generations came. And with each new technology generation, the transistor scales down, the integrated circuit becomes denser, faster, and cheaper. To give you an idea, I believe that you know and you know about Core i7 and Core 2 Duo. So Core i7 chip has 700 million transistor, which is more than twice of the transistor that was used in Core 2 Duo. Core 2 Duo has 300 million transistors. So you can imagine in a very small IC, there are millions of transistors. And how this is happening? This is happening because a man named Gordon Moore, who has hypothesized, and from that, scientists could start to dream and start to research how we can achieve or how we can follow the path of this changing or increasing the density of integrated circuit in every 2 years. So right now, the TSMC and Samsung, they recently brought 7 nanometer technology. And this 7 nanometer means the transistor size is around 7 nanometer. And it means that with time, maybe we will have 5 nanometer or 3 nanometer or less. So if you see what is a nanometer, it's thousands times or more than smaller than a strand of your hair. So how far we can go and how far we can follow Moore's law, that's a question. Why that's a question? Because since you are making the transistors smaller and smaller, there are some problems arising. So these problems are being called the bottlenecks of still there are some power consumption. That is one kind of power consumption that is not, that you don't even realize that it's consuming power, but your device is still consuming some off-state power. Also, as the transistors are scaled down, as they are made smaller and smaller, nonlinear effects are coming to the picture, and that's why the transistor behavior changes from ideal effects. So there are some non-ideal effects which are being called short channel effect. So if you take the nanotech course in your 4th level or 3rd level, maybe you will learn more about what are short channel effects. But most of them arise because the transistor size is aggressively decreasing with time. So the second problem is that as we are incorporating more chips, more transistor in the same volume, the device is heating up because the power density is ultimately increasing. And when the device hits, what happens? The circuit reliability becomes poor with time. And you need to have cooling circuits. For example, with all of our computer, we have separate cooling circuits. And if your cooling circuits fail, for some computers, the transistor will simply burn because they have that much heating. So this is another problem. And last of all, speed limitation. So with time, we are doing more complex things in our computers or even in our mobile. For example, even 20 years before, you may not, or a person may not imagine that she or he can ask Google or ask his phone to find a location, and the Google will turn a location. But now this is a simple, very simple common feature of our mobiles. So more complex, more and more with more time, as time goes on, more and more complex computation have to be done. And this needs to be done in a very small amount of time. But the problem is that as we are using the electronic computers, there is a limitation in speed because when electrons flow in our wires or in our interconnects, they have much delay. So what is an interconnect? So interconnects are just like streets or paths that connect different components in an IC. And as we are scaling down our devices, scaling down our transistor, it is seen that that we have more delay in these interconnects, or we have more delay in communication between two parts of the chip, and this is dominating the over delay of the whole computation. So speed limitation is a major bottleneck for further improvement of our computation or to have high speed computation. So how we are going to solve that? And there is a need for future technology that is not the electronic computation, and that will expand beyond the present scaling limit of electronic computation. And this is basically very hot research topic in current nanotechnology, nano device. Researchers are trying, and funding agents are funding billions of dollars to find alternative to the electronic computation platform. So there are different platforms, but today I will basically talk about the optical one because my research is closely connected to that. So optical computing, optics means light, and optical computing means you are using light for computation instead of electronic or electrical current. So when we say light, we think that it's the light we can see everywhere. But basically, this is only a portion of light. In our scientific term, we say it electromagnetic radiation. And if you see here, in this broad range of electromagnetic radiation, only this portion is the visible range, or the light that we can see in our eyes. And this radiation can be explained in terms of wavelength, and I hope that you know what wavelength is as an electrical engineer. So as wavelength changes, our visible light, the color of our visible light changes, and also as wavelength changes, the electromagnetic spectrum changes from radio wave to the gamma one. So for optical computation, we mainly use this infrared range, and mostly to a specific wavelength, that is 1310 nanometer and 1550 nanometer. So I will come more to the optical computing, but first of all, what is the benefit of using optical computing? First of all, if you use photon or if you use light instead of electron, you will have very high speed computation, because you all know the speed of light, and the speed of light is very, very higher than electron. And also electron has scattering effect, and also electron has mobility degradation effect. Light doesn't have that problem. So you can have very high speed computers or computation if you can use light in your computers. Second, you can perform complex function parallelly or simultaneously, and since it's high speed, you can do it very quickly. And third, the thermal issues that I've said that are the problem of today's electronic devices, that is resolved when we use the optical computing. I'm just going some deep inside the optical computing ideas because I think that you will appreciate this for understanding if you are interested in photonic research or optical or computing research. These several ideas are very important to know. So that's why I decided to keep them in my slides. So you know about the building blocks of electronic computer, that are the transistor or the circuit, the simple circuit, the RC circuits. These are also kind of building block of our electronic computer. But what's the building block of an optical computer? For optical computer, you don't have the register, capacitor, transistor things, but you will have to perform those same thing using optics, using the light. So here comes the building block, and we say it waveguide. So what is the waveguide? It's like a channel, it's like a path. Just imagine a tunnel, and through this tunnel, the electromagnetic wave can propagate. So it can guide the wave. That's why it's the waveguide. And the waveguides, this concept of waveguide mainly comes from optical fiber. So the internet you are using right now, so when you are using internet, you are searching something in Google, and within a microsecond or before you blink your eyes, you can see the Google search result. Everything is happening so fast because we are using the optical fibers. Because the data that is transmitted from the data centers to your computer or to your internet service provider is through the optical fibers. So people have already used optics in communication, for long distance communication. And from that, we have an idea how to use the optics in computation, in computers. So waveguides are simple. If you see this picture, these are simple. These are stacks of dielectrics. So if you see, there are three stacks: a cladding, a film, and substrate. And they have different refractive indices, and the film has higher refractive index always. So it is designed so that when there is light in this film region, the light gets totally internally reflected in this interface and also in this interface. So due to the total internal reflection, the light is trapped inside the film and it can propagate. And since we are dealing with electromagnetic wave, which has both electric field and magnetic field, So waveguide can support some electric fields, and these are being called modes. So modes are nothing but some waveguide electric field that propagates inside the waveguide. And if you see the mode shape, so significant portion or energy of the mode or the field is inside the film, and the slight decay, there is a decayed portion in this top cladding in the substrate. And this is, I just enlarged the picture. This basically decays down fast, and this is being called the evanescent field. So why I'm talking about the evanescent field, you will understand in the next slide. So when we are using the waveguide for computation, so we are emulating all of our transistor, our logics, and everything using this waveguide. That means that your waveguide needs to be very small. But the thing is that you cannot make waveguides very small. There is a problem here. What's the problem? The problem is very simple, and you know it. You're maybe if whether you're an engineer or not, you know it, because just think, can you squeeze light in a very small place? If you try to squeeze light in a very small place, light will tend to spread more and more. Light will not be confined in a very small volume. It will just tend to spread. And this is being called the diffraction. Probably you have learned about the diffraction of slit in class 9 or 10, I forgot, or maybe in 11, 12. So when you send light through a small slit, it basically just spreads. So you cannot confine light in a very small volume. That's the problem. And this is being called the diffraction limitation. And this limitation is the main culprit, I can say, or the main enemy for optical computing. So the thing is that approximately if the wavelength of the light is lambda, and the medium where the light is propagating, its refractive index is n, you cannot confine the light in a size less than lambda by 2n. And I have already said, I'm reminding again, this lambda is in micrometer range. Micrometer range. So that means you cannot make this d less than a micrometer. So what's the problem is that, so when your waveguide is that much bigger, that means your devices will be that much bigger. Your circuit will be that much bigger. So in one case, we are trying to make things smaller and also faster. Optical computing is helping us to make it faster. But in the other end, it's making the device size larger. That's a problem, right? We are in a dilemma. So we cannot make it it's faster and smaller at the same time using the optical computing. So the optical computers, the components, they are in micrometer scale. That's much, much higher than the nanometer scale electrical counterparts. And our transistor, as I said, recently the TSMC has brought the 7 nanometer transistor. If you compare the 7 nanometer with the micrometer scale, it's 1,000 times higher. So that's very high. So that's a problem. And another problem is that after you do the computation, you need to read the output of the computation. And for that, you need the electronic components. You can do the computation very fast, but for reading, the reading circuit has to be the CMOS circuit or electronic components. And your electronic components, your transistor are very small, and at the other side, the computation device, the photonic devices are very large. So there is a size mismatch when you try to integrate these two. So this is another problem. So that's why people are looking into other options. So whether we can use light, but instead some other forms of light, and keep them in the nanometer range, keep them small. So here comes plasmonics. So what is plasmonics, or what is plasmon? Plasmon is an example of light-matter interaction. So basically, plasmonics is nothing but some collective oscillation of electron in metal, and this is in the presence of some electromagnetic radiation, or if you can say in simple language, in the presence of light. So there are two types of plasmons. One is localized, and another one is non-localized. So first of all, I'm talking about slightly about localized one. So the localized ones are created when there are very small nanoparticles. Nanoparticle means there are particles like spherical particles that has diameter in the nanometer. So when there are small metallic nanoparticles at the interface of the metal and the surrounding dielectric, when the light is incident on nanoparticle, due to the interaction of the light and the metallic nanoparticle, this surface plasmon, the localized surface plasmon, is created. And when it is created, it is basically, its main property is that there is a field enhancement, or the field at the close interface of the particle is very strong, and this field rapidly decays down towards away from the particle. And this is localized, this is not propagating. And before I come to the propagating one, I again go to a story. So why I'm telling this story, you will understand. So, okay, sorry that thing bothered you maybe. Okay, so you can see a cup-shaped structure. This is an artistic masterpiece in the Roman Empire, and it dates back to 4th century, made by some craftsman. This glass has an unique property. It changes color depending upon whether you light it from front or back. It changes color from green to red. So scientists didn't understand why this is happening. Small particles of silver and gold, which are metal. And what happens basically? When you shine light, the light scatters from these metallic nanoparticles, or these silver and gold small particles. And depending upon the wavelength of light that is scattered, the color changes. And this Lycurgus cup, this has inspired many scientists to delve into, to dig deeper into plasmonics. And this is basically one form of the localized surface plasmon. So I'm done with my story. So now I'm going to the surface plasmon polariton, that's the propagating plasmon. So this is our main key player in computation. So this is another form of plasmonics or plasmon, and this is a wave propagating at metal dielectric interface. So it is like a 2D, it propagates at an interface. And the main thing is that although it is an electromagnetic radiation, although it's light, it is not diffraction limited. So you remember I talked about diffraction. You cannot squeeze light in a very small space, small place, or volume. Plasmon don't have that property. So plasmon is electromagnetic radiation. It has similar speed, or in the same order of magnitude speed of light, but it is not diffraction limited. That's why you can confine light in the form of plasmon even in the sub-wavelength regime. And what is sub-wavelength? Sub-wavelength means sizes that are very, very, very much smaller than the wavelength. And plasmons are also called the light on a wire. It's like it's propagating. The SPP is called light on a wire because it's propagating, and it's propagating in a very narrow space. And that's the main thing, that it bridges the world of electronic and optical circuit. Why electronic? Because it can give us nanometer-sized devices, which is a property of electronic. And also, it can give us very fast calculation, very fast computation, which is a property of optical circuits. So it's the synergy of these two. And since you can make your device small using Plasmonics as a platform, it will increase the level of integration. So you can have similar number of transistor-like components in your die or in your integrated circuits. And also, since your device or your components are small, they are in nanometer scale, you can even integrate them with your electronic circuit for readout purpose. So the problem with our optical circuits has been completely removed if we choose the Plasmon as the platform for our computation. So this is basically my research topic. I am working on surface Plasmon polarity based computation. And for the few next slides, I will just give you some ideas on what I am working on currently or in the past 1 or 2 years. Okay, so the next 3 slides will be quite heavy. They will be quite informative and heavy, but I will try to make it as simple or explain it as simple as possible. So this is our first talk, and first of all, I must acknowledge my group at Georgia Tech, the Nanoelectronics Research Lab, and also my collaborator IMEC, EPFL. So we are working with two universities two European universities. One is EPFL and another one is KU Leuven. And also we are working with R&D at Belgium, that is IMEC. So my work is basically supported and completely funded by IMEC. So after acknowledging, let's start to see what I have done. So first of all, what we have done, we have designed, our main target is to design the building blocks of computers using the Plasmonic as platform. So for that, first of all, we design a logic gate, and logic gates are one of the core building block of your computers or computation systems. And for my research, I used a platform. I used the SPP waveguides. You will see that I will use the terms waveguides, and that's why I previously explained what waveguide is. So this is my building, the main platform. I am using a metal insulator metal waveguide. So I have already said that the surface plasmon that exists at the metal insulator interface, but when you sandwich it like that, a metal insulator metal, what happens? There are two surface plasmon interface. One is in here and one is in here. And when you combine it, there will be very high energy of mode in this insulator region. So we have chosen the metal insulator metal, or in short MIM, waveguide as our building block or as our platform for our logic gate. So what we did, we have designed a majority gate. So what is majority gate? you all know that the digital computation works on ones and zeros bit. So what majority gate does? It produces 1 if the number of input, or if more than half of the inputs are 1. So for example, this is my majority gate, very simple to look at. There are 3 inputs. For example, if you have 2 1 here and 1 0 here, your output should be expected to be 1. If you have 2 0 and this one is 1, your output is expected to be 0. So the output follows the majority of bits. So the gate structure is simple. There are 3 inputs. We just inject the inputs in these 3 arms, and there is a combiner. The signal comes or travels this path, and they combine in this region, and here is the output. There is another arm named reference. I'm coming to that later. So what we have done, for the first time, we have used the phase of the input signals as the computational variable. So normally what people do, they use the intensity of the field. For example, 0 intensity means 0 bit, high intensity means 1 bit. But what we have done, we have used the phase. For example, we use phase pi of the signal to represent bit 0, while phase 0 at bit 1. And when the signals are injected and they traverse this path, the thing that happens here is simple. That is the interference of the SPP signal. And since surface plasmons are simple lights or electromagnetic radiation, so the main ideas of interference that goes to light, that also is true for surface plasmons. So depending upon the phase of the signal, they will be constructively, that is in phase, or they will be destructively, that is out of phase, interfere in this combiner region. And we have used the reference, another arm at the output. What is its work? Its work is to decode the output. It's like a demodulator. It decodes the output level so that the phase, the output information that is encoding the phase, that is simply converted to amplitude. So we are performing our computation here using phase, but basically phase detection is quite challenging, also computationally costly. Okay, that's why what we have done, we have used simpler reference, and using the reference, we have changed the phase information to an intensity signal. So if you see here, I have seen different combinations of input starting from 000 to 111. If we change the input bits, if you see, at this output, the field pattern will change like that. When it's 000, the field is smaller, the field peak is smaller. When it's 111, the field peak is higher. And I have accumulated the field peak example, if your output, for example, your output is like this, like let 1 or like 1.2 or more, then you can from your threshold value, you can say that it's a majority 1. Or that your output is around 0.3 or 0.5, 0.6, then from the threshold value you can read, or you can understand that your input has a majority of 0. So this is the majority gating. So you can easily understand that you can compute whether it's a majority 1 or majority 0. But the thing is that this single majority gate can also implement the other logic gate, the conventional logic gate, that are the AND gate, OR gate, and XOR gate. The same building blocks the same circuit or the same logic can be used for defining the other AND or XOR logics. And the main thing is that the whole logic gate, the footprint. What is a footprint? Footprint is just the area. The area is only 1.7 micrometer cross 1.2 micrometer. So this whole thing is 1.57 cross 1.2 micrometer, and still there are scopes of improvement to that area calculation. But right now it's like that. Just compare with it that if you use the optical waveguide, then your single waveguide needed to be in the micrometer range. That means if you see my cursor, this thing needed to be in the micrometer range. But now this whole block is in the micrometer range. So we have much improvement compared to the optical components. This is our first work. We have built the logic gate, a majority logic gate, which can perform the majority operation and which can perform the conventional operation like AND or XOR and so on. The second one, okay, the second one is a plasmonic detector. So after you do your logical calculation using a plasmonic waveguide, you need to convert it to the electronic signal because the readout needs to be in the electronic domain. So you need to detect the plasmonic signal from the output of the logic gate, so which is done by detector. And the detector is very similar to a photodetector. So what photodetector works? It simply works when light is incident on the photodetector, carriers or electron holes are generated, and from that carriers, current is generated. So seeing that current level, you can detect that there was plasmon signal. So this is basically the main principle of photodetectors, and this also goes for the plasmonic detectors. So this is basically my first work in PhD, and my first alone work, I should say, because the previous work was done in our group, but this is my first alone work. So for that, I have first choose what materials I can use for my plasmonic platform, because plasmonics have metal, dielectric. What metal I can choose, what dielectric I can choose. First, I have studied that. And what I ensured is that my materials are compatible with the standard silicon manufacturing process. So what is standard silicon manufacturing process? It's a process that is used for currently manufacturing your electronic chip or for the transistor of your electronic chip. So why we are interested to do that? Because if you can adopt your plasmonic components so that they can be made or they can be fabricated in the already established process, then you don't need to think about the fabrication process. Otherwise, you need to again invent some fabrication process, and that will take more time to go to the ultimate goal. So that's why at first I decided I analyzed what material I can use, and for my detector I use aluminum, copper, which are common metals used in the standard fabrication processes. Second, I have designed a metal semiconductor metal. If you see this part, this block, this pink, green, and dark cyan or blue, what we can say. This block, I have designed this block. It looks very simple. And this is basically aluminum. This is copper, this is germanium, and this is copper. So this is aluminum, germanium. Germanium is a semiconductor. Aluminum and copper are metals. So this is a metal semiconductor metal detector, and it detects the plasmon signal that is coming into the detector. So what happens is that I couple this detector to the majority gate that we have already designed, and I optimize their performance. Optimizing means you change the dimension of the of your devices so that you have best performance. And best performance means while you do optimization, some trade-off comes. For example, maybe one thing goes high, another thing goes down, but you want both to go up or go high. So from analysis, you choose a point which gives you, for which you don't need to sacrifice both of them, for which you have an optimized design so that you have both performances are good. So I have optimized the detector, the dimension of the detector, and to detect the output of the output signal that is coming from the logic gate. So my detector is, or our detector is using aluminum and copper as the metals. And the detectors, if you see, aluminum, copper are two different metals, and this is being called asymmetric. Symmetric means same, asymmetric means different. So we are using asymmetric configuration. And why we are using asymmetric configuration? Because when you use asymmetric configuration, there are a couple of advantages come. First of all, when you use asymmetric configuration, you will have very low noise because your dark current, or that current in the absence of the input signal, is very small. So for any detector, you will have some signal output, even if you don't give some light input. That is being called a dark current. So if you use the asymmetric metal configuration, the dark current is very low, which means that your noise will be very, very low. And if you see here, this is our dark current, and it is in the nanoampere range. It's very low. And if you see the above curves, these are the current curves that we are getting from the MSN the detector. These are for different levels of input. So when we change the input from 000 to 111, the current level changes as the incoming input plasmonic signal also changes. So our main contribution to this in this particular design was that we are the first group to offer a plasmonic, or to design a plasmonic detector which is very high bandwidth. So bandwidth is a, you can say it's like a speed. So bandwidth means how fast data can pass through it. In very lay language, you can say that. So if the bandwidth is very high, your computation will be very high speed, or the speed of the computation will be very high. So before us, another group has shown 100 gigahertz, but we are the first group to show it that we can achieve 220 gigahertz of bandwidth. And this is because of, first of all, we are using a asymmetric metal, aluminum, copper. Number two, this semiconductor germanium is very narrow. So what happens when plasmons come from the majority gate to this germanium, or to this MSN detector? Since germanium is semiconductor, I'm not sure whether you have learned about semiconductors. So what happens is that carriers, or electrons or holes, are generated, and this electron and hole that is generated in the germanium, that sweeps from one metal to another metal, and these metals, they just act as contact. So when it sweeps across this germanium, you will have current. And when this germanium is very narrow, then you will have very high current. I'm sorry, you will have very high bandwidth. Okay. Are you guys with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I just heard some sound. That's why I thought that, yeah, I just double checked. Okay. Can you just ensure how much time I have left?
Ma'am, it's 5 to 10 minutes.
Really? Oh no.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh, that's a bad thing to know for me. Okay, I will shorten it. So first of all, and last of all, our device is very small. It's less than 1 micrometer square, and we can operate at a very low voltage, around 100 millivolt. So these are our achievements for Plasmonic Detector. So we have several ongoing projects. First of all, we have designed and also improving a design of multiplier which can perform arithmetic multiplication. And also we have designed power splitter that can split power, the power of the plasmonic signal. And I have not shown this because of confidentiality, because we have not still published those work. And also we are doing some material analysis right now. So these are our ongoing projects, but our ultimate goal is to build the plasmonic network. If you see, this is our ultimate goal. There will be a source and plasmon source. It will come, it will modulate the signal, and this modulator will be plasmonic modulator. And there will be logic gate, the modulator and detector, and it will go to the CMOS readout circuit. We have already achieved this part, the logic gate. We have achieved this part, the detector. And we are working, our collaborators are working on the source and the modulator part. And ultimately, we will combine all of this into the same platform to realize a plasmon-based computation system. And this will have applications in data-intensive application, like where in servers, in supercomputers, and for modeling of very complex data, or for designing or finding or discovery of new or novel medicines. So these will mainly be used, the plasmonic computers or the high speed, high performance computers will mainly be used in servers and for complex computations. So basically, I have several parts. I'm not sure how to complete this, but I will try my best to accommodate the time. So you remember that I started with this huge computer, ENIAC. That was an on purpose, because ENIAC is a there were 6 pioneering female programmers, but whose names erased with time. And archival photos, these are some archival photos, they show that they worked, they were there. These 6 ladies, they were there for building the programs of the ENIAC. But ultimately, the articles that are published on ENIAC or the magazines, they don't show the females, they only show the males. And even after ENIAC was demonstrated, there was a party or event, celebration party. These women were not even invited to the party. This was the scenario of 1946. So at that time, people didn't get the recognition. Female were underrepresented. But whether we can advance from that 1946 or not, that you can see, that you can easily understand from your surroundings. If you see the number of female students in your class, or if you see the number of female researchers, you know that will reflect whether we can improve from the 1946 situation or not. To appreciate that, so I'm skipping this too, to appreciate that that women researchers now working in different fields of in the current world, I'm just showcasing 6 women researchers. Maria, she discovered the nuclear shell of atomic nucleus. Jennifer, she is the pioneer of CRISPR genome editing, which can solve or which can cure thousands of diseases, and she got the Nobel in chemistry in 2020. Sarah Seeger, she discovered exoplanets, and exoplanets are planets that are outside our solar system. Rosalind Franklin, she discovered the molecular structure of the DNA. Donna Strickland, she also got the Nobel in 2018 for her work in laser pulse. And last of all, I will talk about Tierra Fletcher. She's a very young girl, only 24 years old. And she is working in NASA. She is one of the designers of the space launch system for NASA, which will in future send people to Mars. So these are some women who has already worked or who are still working in different sectors of researches or for the advancement of humanity. So I would really appreciate if you take some time after this event to search which Bangladeshi women researchers are contributing to pioneering researching works worldwide. Whether do you even find it in Google or not, you will find, because I have already checked. I will appreciate that if you just take 5 to 10 minutes to do that. So, why are women researchers needed? Already Dr. Maheshi already said that women make up the workforce, but yet the sad thing is that there is only 30% of the world's researchers that comes from the women, and that is the major cause is basically the gender bias. First of all, the society has some preconception about the woman, and also some biasness in our workplace, sexual harassment in workplace that discourage us, our women, to carry on research to carry on the research profession. So why we need the women researchers? We need for the humanity. And basically different studies have shown that there is no difference, there is no biological difference in men and women in performing science and mathematics. So why women are not coming forward? Because if you don't come forward, there will be a lack of diversity. And if this the lack of diversity continues in STEM fields or in research, this will severely impact the productivity and innovation, and ultimately it will hamper the improvement of human life. So, for a better future, we need more women researchers and scientists in the world, and we need to encourage our women counterparts, our female friends, our partners, to carry on to their dream in STEM field. And whether we are their better half, whether we are, I'm basically talking about the men here, whether you are her better half or whether you are her friend, it's your duty also to ensure or to encourage them to carry on their dream in STEM fields, because ultimately your life or the improvement of your life is ultimately hampering if they don't contribute to the advancement of the researches of science and technology. So I have said many things about my research. I have said many things about I have said some things about why women researchers are needed. So these are some good things that if you are interested in higher education, especially for women, there are several scholarships, there are several opportunities for you. And the first one is for both men and women. If you go to the Bangladesh Ministry of Foreign Affairs, you will see that several times they offer scholarships for study abroad to European universities, to Australia or to China, to Korea. So there are scholarships for all, for both men and women. There is scholarship for women in STEM, and if you just search this in Google, you will find there are society of women engineers scholarship, and you can avail these opportunities. You can avail this grant for your higher studies. And most interesting or most encouraging thing is that um, the professor in labs in at least in US, I have seen that the professor in lab, they are more interested in hiring women grad students because they are also curious, they are also tensed or curious that they need to increase the diversity of their group. That's why you will see that professors are hiring more and more female grads in their labs. So this is a very plus point and encouraging point for women. um, I would definitely highly encourage my students that just try, when you complete your graduation, try to reach out to professors, send them emails, talk to them, and if you like their research, if they like your profile, or if both matches, maybe I can see you in Georgia Tech one day, and that will be my very, very great proud moment. So these were my main talks, and one last addition I want to share with my WI members here, since I was with the Bangladesh WI section since its inception. I just wanted to give some notes or some ideas how you can improve. Since Syed has said that, ma'am, you can just add some notes how our WI members can improve. So there are some key points. First of all, you can create a network of students. You can collaborate with other student branches. You can collaborate with Section WI. Section WI is always open to collaborate with branches. Number one. Number two, to increase your visibility, you can arrange technical workshop, and we have done like that. And you can imagine how tremendous response we have found from these workshops. Technical workshop, people like technical workshop. They want to learn, like LaTeX, they want to learn how to build a website. And from there, they'll know that there is something named WIE, and when they attend, they will know about you, and they will be curious, more curious to know about you, to get involved with you. And also, I will highly encourage you to go to high schools, colleges, and motivate the students to pursue engineering career, because that's their turning point. If you can contribute one single girl to decide to pursue an engineering career, that will be a great thing you have done. So as a WI member, we went to Holy Cross College twice, and you cannot imagine how affluent they were seeing us, and they were saying that, yeah, we are very interested to go to like engineering universities, and it's a great moment if you can encourage some girls to pursue engineering career. And last of all, engage in voluntary activities. I know that you have tremendous work, you have lab sessionals, you have reports, and you have exams, but try to engage in really small amount of, even if possible, voluntary works, because no experience is wasted. You can show these voluntary works in your job. It will increase or enrich your CV. It will enrich your face value in the job market, number one. And if you go for higher studies, it is a very plus point. I have seen in my own case. And maybe before I applied, I didn't understand how important it is. But these voluntary activities, this separates you from another candidate who had not done that. This tells the professor that, yes, this girl or this boy did not only read or write during his or her bachelor's, he also did something else. And the universities in the overseas universities, the US or European universities or Australian universities, they really care about this, whether you are doing the voluntary activities. So no experience is wasted, so try to engage in voluntary activities and it will pay off. These are not my part of any technical slide or any advice. These are some things. I have talked about very heavy things about my research work, but don't think that we researchers only do research. We have fun things in our life. We do the grocery, we do the cooking, we do we hang out, we travel a lot. So we do everything, and this has improved our or my personal time management, and it has professionally improved me a lot. I will just share some fun I have done in the last 3 years. So this is my institution, Georgia Institute of Technology. This is the Van Leer building. This is the ACE building. I like this Einstein's sculpture. I put it in here. And this is a very nice place. It's quite the center, and I sometimes go there and sit here and have my lunch. Or at night I go there and see the skyscrapers of Atlanta, Georgia. Okay, so life outside research, what we do as a researcher, what we else do. So we have a community here, Bangladeshi community. We say Bangladeshi Student Association, BSA of Georgia Tech. So we do lots of things. We organize the International Mother Language Day. So I have never sang in my life, but here I have to sing. I have to do lots of things. And we celebrated the Bengali New Year. We hang out with friends and family. We go to beaches. I like traveling a lot, and when I was in Bangladesh, I didn't travel at all. But after coming here, I found that traveling is very exciting. I do hiking, I go to mountains, and hiking is very exciting for me. So this is a picture of Georgia Aquarium. This is the world's second largest aquarium largest aquarium. I also went to Niagara Falls to see the beauty. And I had the opportunity. I'm quite, what should I say? I'm quite privileged because my work is supported by IMEC, which is in Belgium. So I had to go to internship in Belgium in 2019. And there I traveled a lot. This is the IMEC building. This is a pioneering R&D in Europe. So I went to Brussels. I went to almost the most big cities in Belgium. I went to Brussels. I went to Bruges, Ghent, Ostend. And Belgium is very popular for, they say Belgium is popular for chocolate and wine. Chocolate wine and French fries. They don't say it French fries, they say it fries. So I could see the sweet delicacies of chocolates. There are hundreds of shops, chocolate shops, and I never could imagine that these things exist in the world. So these added new dimensions to my life. And also I am also I was also very shy and introvert person, but after coming here, I could understand that I can also do something. I went to new countries all alone. I went to Paris also. I see the Louvre Museum. I see Mona Lisa smiling. I checked the Eiffel Tower. I also had 11 miles of hiking in Luxembourg. So I went everywhere all alone, and I never imagined before coming here that I can go to a completely new country alone. And most of the thing is that in Atlanta I have Bangladeshi community, but here I didn't get anyone Bangladeshi. I just traveled alone and enjoyed the beauty of the world. So that's all. That's all from my today's talk. Sorry, I took your time, and I really appreciate that you have waited that much and listened to my talk. Thank you, and I would be very pleased to reply to your questions.
Thank you, ma'am. We have a few questions. One of the
Sure.
question is related to your research.
Mm-hmm.
The question is, do we need high dark current as it is detecting signals? Then deficiency in dark current would be better. I might be wrong. Please clarify.
Okay. Um, Dark current is just some, for example, dark current is like when you don't have any input. For example, the detectors are detecting something, right? So you expect that you will have current only when your signal is coming, only when the plasmonic signal is coming. But dark current it's a very natural thing for photodetectors, for semiconductors. When even if you don't have any input signal, you will have some current because of some, there are some carriers in the semiconductors. So always researchers try to keep the dark current as low as possible because this dark current is a major source of noise in the circuit. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, ma'am. Another
So dark
question
current
is,
is not detecting basically. Dark
yeah,
current is not detecting. Dark current is just the background noise. When you have plasma signal or when you have light signal, then you will have the current signal. But dark current will be always be there, whether you have the input or whether you don't have the input. Okay.
thank you, ma'am. So another
Welcome.
question we have is, ma'am, are you doing it with simulation or are you making the device physically?
That's a very good question. Yeah, our lab is computational based. We are doing simulation, but there are some experimental works that have been done in plasmonics. But the thing is that the plasmonic computation has is in its infancy. That means it's although there are researches going on, but even if it is in the very preliminary stage. So maybe you can think that after 10 or 20 years there will be, you can see a real life plasmonic computation system that you can that is done, that is going on with quantum computers. But right now that is only in the research level and some groups are doing experimental work. Our group is completely computational. We are doing simulations, right?
Thank you
Any
so
more
much,
question?
ma'am.
Okay.
No, we are done with the question answer session. Thank you so much for sharing so many crucial things with us today, starting from your research work, girls in research, and your own very experiences. We got to learn a lot from you today, and I'm sure many of us would be helped, and we would be able to start preparing from now on how we want to approach things. Thank you so much for this today, ma'am. Well, now
Welcome,
that
welcome
yes,
all of you. I just want to add, if you want to any information regarding how to apply for higher studies or how to start, because in the beginning we don't understand how to start. What's the starting point? If you want any suggestion, I am always free to do that. I am always free to help you. I have given my contact information to Saeed. You can take it from him. So just shoot me a message that, ma'am, I'm interested to go for higher studies. I can help you in any means possible, and that will be my privilege to do that. Thank you.
thank you so much. It's a great honor to have you as our mentor because not many people have that support or that guideline. Thank you, ma'am.
Yeah. So that's why I think that people at some stages need mentors, and mentorship is very important. I didn't have mentors when I applied, so it's very important. So I'd like to help you if you need. I will be always there,
We are blessed to
inshallah.
have you. Yes, we are blessed to have you.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, thank you, ma'am. Now, our branch chair would like to say a few words to the leaders and to all the participants.
Thank you, Jennifer, for letting me speak. I thank Lubaba ma'am for conducting the whole seminar. This was very informative, and I was with my pen and my notebook as I'm doing nanotechnology in my courses. I am very much interested, and I have thousands of questions in my mind, and I'm just picking all those up for asking ma'am in her free time. So
Sure.
as this motivated me so much, I think it is and it has motivated you as well. The session with Maheshi ma'am inspired you to join the engineering gang, and our Lubama ma'am is inspiring you to contribute in on that gang. So you all are welcome in the engineering world. We are bound to contribute, and we should contribute. So whoever, I'm especially talking about the women, whoever feels confident about showing your potential out, we IEEE East West University Student Branch and IEEE as a whole are always with you, supporting you back. And when we have leaders like Lubaba ma'am and Maheshi ma'am, do we have anything to be tensed about, right? So thank you so much, ma'am, for responding to our call as soon as possible. And I think that people will be knocking us for more exciting seminar like this in the near future. Thank you so much, ma'am, for joining us.
Thank you.
Keep
Thank
blessing
you
us.
all. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you so much. So our session has finally ended. So if anyone have any question, you can ask. If anyone wants to leave, then you can leave. So it's officially closed. Okay. So yes, good days and good evening. Thank you all. Thank you so much.